Hi everyone, this week I've been driving this 2020 Nissan Sentra, which is all new for this year. Sentra typically falls in third place in terms of sales in the compact sedan market. Leaders in this segment by far are the Toyota Corolla and the Honda Civic. The Hyundai Elantra typically does pretty well in this segment too, but when you really step back, look at the big picture, it's fair to say that the Sentra is pretty much the third most popular vehicle in this segment. The new design's pretty sharp. Let's do a quick tour of the exterior, then we'll look on the inside and then take it for a ride, and then I'll give you my thoughts on the new Sentra. Start up front here. The design of this thing is pretty sharp. It's obviously got a contrasting black roof. That's not standard, it's an option. LED headlights, this one's fully loaded. More lights down there. You can tell it's a Nissan because it's got the V-shaped grille that pretty much every new Nissan model has. That grille's like a gray chrome, and then it's surrounded in a gloss black. Moving down the side, this one has 18-inch wheels with black painted area. They look pretty good. Not a real busy design, and that's kind of refreshing. This segment tends to rely on some pretty out there designs in order to get attention these days. When most people flock toward SUVs, these cars tend to try to look sportier than they are, and I think the Sentra's pretty realistic. Proportions are nice, not too heavy on the badging back here. Got Sentra, the Nissan logo. Nissan has a new logo. This is not that logo. Curious to see when they'll apply that logo to some of their pre-existing vehicles. Like I said, this one's fully loaded. It's an SR model. Taillights look pretty sharp. Down low here, you've just got single outlet exhaust pipe, little lip spoiler on the trunk lid. There is some evidence of cost cutting throughout this interior, and you're met with that right away on the door panel here. So a lot of cars use touch sensitivity. This thing has a button for lock and unlock. I just kind of find it a little bit old-fashioned to have a button on there. Anyway, I locked it. That's the other thing about the button, is you have to actually test the handle before you can tell whether the door is locked or unlocked. So, start button is right here. Here's a look at the window sticker. So, 2020 Nissan Sentra. The only available powertrain in the Sentra, regardless of trim level, is a 2-liter 4-cylinder. It puts out just 149 horsepower and 146 pounds-feet of torque. I will say that this 150 horsepower figure is pretty common for the base engine in these compact sedans, but some competitors like the Toyota Corolla, Honda Civic, Mazda 3, Hyundai Elantra, Kia Forte, they offer a more powerful engine. They generally make about 180 horsepower. Sentra sticks with just one basic powertrain though. That is paired with a continuously variable automatic transmission. The CVTs are kind of controversial. They're meant for fuel economy more than anything. I kind of view them as a lazy way to get better fuel economy because they do kind of hurt the driving experience. If you're looking for a car that's really great to drive and sounds good and feels good when you hit the gas pedal, the CVT doesn't really give you that feeling. Anyway, as equipped, this one is $26,000. Fuel economy is decent, 32 combined, 28 city, 37 highway. So yeah, that $26,000 figure represents as much as you could ever expect to pay for one of these things. This one's loaded. Some notable features, and they are kind of nice. You can get a 360-degree camera system. So put the car in reverse, and there's your backup camera, and then here's the 360-degree camera. Resolution leaves a little bit to be desired for sure. If you're gonna have such a nice camera system like this, you'd think they'd want it to be higher resolution to really make a bigger impression, but it's not the worst, but it's not great. Bose audio system, screen and a gauge cluster here, excuse me. So can cycle through some different metrics. The parking sensors are going crazy because yesterday it was 90 degrees and today it's just 45 degrees outside. And pressure change has wreaked havoc on the tire pressures. Other things in the interior of note here, you do get a USB-C port. I'm a big proponent of that. There's also an old school USB-A port, an aux port, and then a 12-volt outlet. Switchgear is pretty nice. So this is Nissan's kind of latest generation switchgear, so it feels good. It's pretty sharp. It uses a lot of different surfaces. You can see you've got matte plastic buttons here, gloss over these screens, and then a nice aluminum finish on the dials. This one has heated front seats and a heated steering wheel, which is kind of unique to see in a compact sedan. I do like the layout of the air vents here. They look really kind of sporty. I know this car isn't sporty, but it's at least a fun look here, the way the dashboard kind of comes down into the vents here. They feel pretty good. It's nice to be able to direct air in a lot of different directions. Moving over to the side here, and this is another example of cost cutting. So you can tell the steering wheel, this is like next generation Nissan. The dashboard layout and the switchgear up here is really next generation Nissan, as is the gauge cluster. You get over to the door panel though, and they're still using their old generation switchgear. It works, it just feels cheap, and when you've got such a sharp cabin, you just wish that carried over onto the door panel here. But yeah, this just kind of feels like an afterthought. I have to think they figured out that maybe they could save like $10 per vehicle if they reused this old switchgear here. And unfortunately, it's something I noticed right away, and it kind of hurts the overall feeling of the vehicle. Door panels, soft touch here. You've got some orange stitching. Nissan really likes the color orange. They use it as a lot of accent colors. And you can see Sentra uses orange accents on the door panel and then across the dashboard. Dashboard feels pretty good. It's not super cushy, but it's not hard plastic. Gear shifter here, pretty straightforward. This thing is a CVT, so you don't get really a sport or a manual mode. No paddle shifters. One thing that's really kind of weird that I noticed, you'll see there's no handbrake here, no electronic emergency brake. That's because it's an old school, I'm not sure if you can see it down there, it's an old school floor mounted emergency brake. So I'll put it on. It's on, and then to release it, you just press it and it comes up. I guess it works, but it just feels a little bit old-fashioned. Feels like another example of cost cutting in the Sentra here. It also just kind of makes the pedal box feel a little bit claustrophobic. So here's a footrest, here's a blank space, and then the brake pedal, you can see my right foot's on the brake pedal, so there's not a lot of space there. And then you've got this emergency brake down here, which, yeah, I don't love it. Anyway, we have now seen the front seat. Let's climb in the back. This is an economy car. It's a compact, and yeah, about compact car. Seating space back here. Not super tight. I gotta say, there's more space between my knee and the front seat back than I expected, actually. Enough space to spread out. Door panels, let's see. Yeah, hard plastic back here. That's fairly common. They use a nicer material on the front door panels than they do on the back door panels here. But, oh well. Soft touch here, more of that stitching back here, so that's nice. They didn't totally cheap out. Not much on the back of the center console. You do get a USB-A port, so only one USB-C port, two USB-A ports. Nothing else back there. One pocket on the passenger seat back. Nothing on the driver's side seat back. Get a dome light, some grab handles, and then a fold-down center armrest with cup holders. So not so bad back here. One thing I wanted to add that stood out to me is this wiper functionality. So when you activate the wipers, it actually comes up with a screen here, wiper mode guidance, that tells you where exactly you are in your wiper levels here. So here's off, there's two dashes, there's a solid dash, and then there is a bold dash. And you come up here, you can adjust speed. Where is that? Where are we? Yeah. So as you twist this guy, it shows you where your speed's at. So that's really nice. I usually fumble around with this and I have to turn it all the way off to figure out where I was and to put it on the right level. Here, it's all integrated into this digital gauge cluster. Clever feature. Okay, let's take it for a ride. Parking brake is off. The Sentra definitely competes in a shrinking segment. Even just driving this thing this week, I can kind of understand why this segment is shrinking. You know, it's not a big car, not a lot of utility, front wheel drive, you can't fit a lot in it. So I can see why fewer and fewer buyers are opting for these compact sedans these days. I think you're more likely to find one of these as an airport rental car. And there's 50 miles per hour. You could probably hear the transmission. Like I said, continuously variable automatic. Nissan's kind of the poster child for CVTs. Their earlier ones were a lot worse than the ones in their modern vehicles, but still I can't say I really like them. Nissan and Subaru and Honda to a degree rely pretty heavily on CVTs. Toyota, Volkswagen, Mazda, and Hyundai and Kia have largely stayed away from them. I think, you know, your casual car buyer, if you're not a car enthusiast, I don't think you would notice the CVT that much. But if you're someone who likes cars and likes to drive, you know, maybe you don't want to spend a lot on a vehicle, or, you know, maybe you're not buying a sports car per se, but if you like cars and you like driving, I think the CVT could kind of wear on you after a while. And for that reason, I think in this segment, Mazda still offers the best driving dynamics. Toyota Corolla was pretty nice. I haven't driven the new Volkswagen Jetta. Jetta used to be about driving dynamics. I'm not so sure that's the case anymore, but I can't say I'd recommend the Sentra here to anybody who really likes to drive, because the CVT is just a little bleh. Outside of the CVT though, there are some things to like about this car. I think it's a decent value. Nissan has kind of been known as the value automaker these days. Frankly, it's really kind of hurt their brand ever since they moved to that strategy. The product has gone further and further downhill. That said, the new generation of Nissan products actually seems to be kind of pleasant. It seems like maybe they've turned a corner. Switchgear in this thing is nice. Decent safety features, some clever features in general. You've got a heated steering wheel. You've got a 360-degree camera system in this one. Granted, it's the fully loaded $26,000 example. The engine's fine. By not offering a more powerful option, Nissan is just choosing to not compete with the compact cars that do offer a more powerful engine option. So to sum up the Sentra here, there's a lot to like about this vehicle. There are some things to not like. It is all new for 2020, so the exterior design is pretty sharp. The interior design feels, for the most part, modern, aside from this recycled door panel switchgear. Screens are fairly high resolution. The infotainment system's okay. Gauge cluster's nice. You do get some nice features. Heated steering wheel, 360-degree camera system. As far as this vehicle's place in the compact sedan segment goes, I don't think it'll be challenging the Corolla and Civic for compact sedan supremacy. I could also kind of see it losing ground to the new Hyundai Elantra, which looks pretty good. The new Mazda 3 is pretty good, pretty nice inside. Subaru Impreza offers all-wheel drive as standard. Can't really get it anywhere else in the segment except for on the Mazda 3. And then the Volkswagen Jetta will kind of always remain a niche option. So that leaves the Sentra as still kind of the value play in the segment. I don't think that it'll really appeal to enthusiasts, just given the CVT and kind of the weak overall powertrain. Even just that person that likes to drive and may not want a really expensive car, but still wants to put a lot of thought and effort into their new car buying decision. I don't think really the Sentra is the car for that person, but I were to be given the keys to this at the rental car counter for a short weekend or 2-day trip, wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Let's just leave it at that. Thank you for watching.